Breaking today, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have just been banned from this year's major royal wedding. And it is a particular humiliation for the so-called Duke and Duchess of Sussex because Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, who you might think are just a little bit more toxic at the moment, will be there. And actually, I do think this puts pay to some of the suggestions that there is this type of reconciliation going on between the fake royals and the real royals. Let's just leave King Charles to one side. I think the young royals absolutely have no contact with Harry and Meghan anymore and don't intend for them to be part of any major celebrations. This is, of course, the wedding of Peter Phillips. And the thing about Peter Phillips, and this is People magazine now confirming it, by the way, Harry and Meghan's propaganda outfit. But the thing about Peter Phillips that's really interesting is that he was incredibly close to both brothers. And you will remember at the funeral of Prince Philip, when there were so many concerns about Prince William and Harry being in close vicinity of each other, he was chosen to stand between them. And so this idea that, oh, they've just drifted apart over recent years is rubbish. No. The other young royals, including Zara and Mike, including Peter, have made the decision to side with William over Harry. That is absolutely categorical. But this is how People magazine tried to spin it. So they confirmed that Harry won't be part of the wedding to Harry at Spurling. They confirmed this Hello magazine report that he wasn't invited to the nuptials, which will take place very soon, actually. It's a summer wedding on June the 6th. And as I said, this is the big royal wedding of the year. A friend of the couple telling Hello, Peter and Harry haven't spoken for several years and have simply lost touch, so he hasn't been invited. Now, again, I understand that Hello's gone with the propaganda line, but think about that. They haven't spoken for several years. They haven't spoken since Megxit. Like, what is this all about? Spokespeople for Prince Harry and Peter had no comment when reached by People, but the fact that People have gone ahead with publishing this article shows that they know that this is true. Here's a little bit of background. Prince Harry and Peter grew up attending many royal events together, from Trooping the Colour to the royals' church outings for holidays such as Christmas and Easter. And of course, Harry has been seen with Peter during the funeral events for their grandparents. He also attended Peter's first wedding in 2008 to autumn with his then girlfriend, Chelsea Davy. The friend told Hello magazine that Peter and Harriet's wedding, which will be their second marriage for both of them, is sent to be an intimate occasion with their close friends and immediate family around them in the Cotswolds. It's an area where they grew up and it is very special to them both. But here's where it gets awkward. All the other royals are going because the Daily Mail reported that King Charles, Queen Camilla, Prince William, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, Prince Edward, Sophie, Zara and Mike Tyndall all will attend. Now, also surprising is the fact that Princess Beatrice and Eugenie have got an invite too. This now confirmed by The Sun. It's an interesting one too, because remember, William had made the point that he didn't want any senior royals to be pictured with the cousins all year long. But Matt Wilkinson, the royal editor of The Sun, reporting that both princesses are set to come in from the cold and join the king and queen at this summer's royal wedding. It will be their first royal family appearance since revelations in the Epstein files involving their parents, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor and Sarah Ferguson, and them were made public this year. The sisters have not visited their exiled dad in Sandringham since his arrest in February, even though Eugenie is pregnant with her third child. And a source said the royal family needs some good news, and nothing unites like a big church wedding. Beatrice is going, and Eugenie is in the second trimester of her pregnancy, but hopes to attend. The king always wanted both to remain part of the family. Brittany, editor of the Royal News Network, with me now. Brittany, all of the language here is so coded, isn't it? Because this is like the ultimate snub to Harry and Meghan. This is a family wedding. This is something that in the past there would have been an expectation that someone so high up the line of succession would have been. And the fact that the royals are briefing directly to The Sun that the king wanted Beatrice and Eugenie to be there and wanted them to remain part of the family is obviously like a dagger in the heart to Harry and Meghan, who are desperately trying to get back into the fold. What do you make of it?
It's crazy, Dan, that they're not invited just sends such a strong message as to where the younger royals stand on this issue, which is that I think especially the older generation. So we're talking, Peter and Zara, who are closer in age to Harry and William, in particular William, and the three of them are quite close, are looking at Harry and Meghan going, we just don't want any part of this dog and pony show that you two offer. This is going to be a happy occasion. And if Harry and Meghan are there, it's not a happy occasion anymore. It's stressful. It's tense. You have to manage so much because you can't say and do certain things around Harry and Meghan because you don't know if it'll show up in Netflix or the next Oprah Winfrey interview or the next book. And so the royal family has gotten to this point, I think. And although, again, I think Charles is still a little soft on Harry, they're like at this point with Harry still with Meghan, he's just not welcome to anything. And that Beatrice and Eugenie show again where the family's loyalties lie and how they see the sisters, which is just not as grave a threat as Harry and Meghan. Harry and Meghan are the threat, not Beatrice and Eugenie. And it's not a big surprise, but I'm sure Harry feels a little bit of the slight for sure, and probably Meghan to a certain extent as well, because they really desperately need that royal connection to help them make cash.
Of course they do. And this really shows that they are not royal by all intents and purposes anymore. And I found the briefing line in Hello magazine so interesting, Brittany. I mean, Peter and Harry haven't spoken for several years and have simply lost touch. I mean, no, they haven't simply lost touch. There was a clear moment when the young royals decided to cut contact with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. And I mean, I remember it very well, Brittany, because I was reporting on it at the time. And it was around the time when, do you remember Harry and Meghan came back for the late Queen's Platinum Jubilee? And they were at the service at St. Paul's Cathedral, which Her Late Majesty couldn't actually attend in the end. And Harry and Meghan refused to get in the van with the other royals, which was taking them to the post-lunch at the St. Paul's Cathedral event. They just refused. And they didn't actually go to the event either, where all of the more minor royals were hosting tables. And there was a very awkward scene outside St. Paul's Cathedral when Zara and Mike were standing there waiting for the van with the other royals, and Harry and Meghan tried to spark a conversation. They just didn't want to have a bar of them, because it was at that point when the younger royals decided, no, hang on a moment. There's nothing reasonable about your actions. You're acting as if you're better than us. You're acting as if you don't want to be part of this family anymore. Of course, Brittany, you then add in Spare and Netflix and Oprah. Like, I'm not belittling all of that. But for a long while, actually, the young royals, who you could have maybe argued in the past when they were younger, had a bit more of a connection with Harry, were saying, no, we are 100% behind William.
We are. And when it comes to royals as well, I mean, you want to be close to the crown, right? You want to be close to the king. What do Harry and Meghan offer? Not so much. I was actually there in front of St. Paul's Cathedral that day, and it was definitely a very interesting interaction because, of course, Harry and Meghan arrived and departed separately from everyone else as well. They refused to take the group transportation, and I was just actually in Sweden recently, where the King and Queen of Denmark and the Crown Prince of Norway took a bus together to go to the event, the Queen and her tiara. And so for Harry and Meghan to, I think, slight sort of the order of protocol and these sorts of things, and since they arrived late, it was rather embarrassing because Harry and Meghan had to scoot into their chairs because they weren't at the aisle, because there was a very clear and obvious sign that, hey, Harry and Meghan, you no longer have the status you think you do within this family in terms of being high-ranking royals and treated like Catherine and William, Charles and Camilla. And I think Zara and Peter, especially the younger royals as well, Beatrice and Eugenie, tended to be a bit closer to Harry, just looked at this entire situation and went, you guys are too much of a hassle. You're too much drama. They don't want that in their lives. Not a lot of people do. Harry and Meghan live within a miasma of toxicity, and they spread that to everyone they have in contact with. And Peter and Zara were like, we're Team William 100% of the way. Our kids are close to them. We're close to them. And Harry and Meghan, they just don't offer anything.
No, they don't. They don't. But Brittany, there is increasing speculation today that after that despicable image that Meghan Markle posted of the young girl sort of shining her shoes in her designer $250,000 wardrobe, that this could be the start of her fashion launch. The Daily Mail reporting that it may be a tantalizing crew, and Annabelle Fenwick reporting that the date of the launch could be looming ever closer. She writes that eagle-eyed devotees did spot a new sizing chart for T-shirts appearing on her brand's website, both for adults and kids last week, although it was swiftly deleted. Was it a tease or a glitch? Well, almost certainly a glitch, but obviously you're not going to have a sizing chart for T-shirts if you're not planning to launch T-shirts. The Duchess's spokesman declined to comment to the Daily Mail, and Annabelle writes, if Meghan really is expanding from the kitchen and her pricey jams meandering into her wardrobe era with an as-ever garment collection, what can we expect? It won't be tights. We know she wasn't keen on having to wear those as a working royal, branding custom inauthentic. Stiletto shoes, perhaps. There are 2 pairs of nigh-on identical black heels by different designers in the forefront of her photo next to the Armani jacket. And, of course, several beige lookalikes in the background. What do you think, Brittany? Is this the start of the fashion launch?
I mean, it could be, Dan. And what's funny about that is that it would make Meghan Markle's spokesperson a liar, because I believe they told GB News that no, there's no fashion brand coming. There's no fashion brand coming. And it would not be a surprise if 2 weeks later, all of a sudden we have a fashion brand. And we know Meghan Markle truly believes people like her fashion, which is just simply not true. And that she thinks she can really move product, which she should know at this point with as ever, is just simply not true. But Meghan Markle lives in the land of delusion. And so she is, I think, fully willing to try and do a fashion brand, because as ever, overall as a brand has largely failed. And so she's just constantly trying new things, hoping something works. But fashion is a notoriously brutal industry. Even Victoria Beckham struggled for years upon years to actually turn a profit. Even successful fashion brands fail quite a bit. She is entering into a utterly brutal market without having a good solid foundation just in business generally. As ever is not doing well. Their production company is not doing well. This is not the time to jump and try to add another thing to the list of failures. But Meghan Markle, we've seen again and again, just can't simply take advice. So I would not be surprised if she's exploring this route, because what we have seen consistently from Meghan for years and years is that she truly believes her fashion should pay her. And she hasn't fully had that be successful yet. But I think it's because people just don't like her fashion. Not that she can, if she does something else, it'll finally work. No. If you couldn't make it work with Shop My, one-off is sort of stalled now too. She's not going to make it with her own fashion brand either.
Now, Brittany, with friends like these, who needs enemies? I'm talking about Dan Wakeford, who has long been one of the biggest propagandists in the media for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, previously as the editor of People magazine, then Us Weekly. He's now gone independent, and he's prepared to tell a few home truths, including the fact that actually Meghan can't keep on launching these products around the kids if she does want to have any cohesive message. This is his latest report.
Two people in public life have campaigned harder for children's online safety than Harry and Meghan. So why are their children, Archie and Lilibet, in a commercial social media post? Yes, they obscured their children's faces, as they always do, and the children were only briefly visible, but they were there in a commercial post being used to sell a product, some candles. And here's why that matters more than it might seem. Harry has literally testified before lawmakers about the psychological damage caused by media intrusion into his own childhood. Meghan has campaigned actively for children's online safety legislation and backed the Responsible Technology Youth Power Fund. These are not performative positions. They are sincere, well documented, and they're generally important. And then came this candle. There is a reasonable argument that a half-second glimpse with obscured faces is not the same as full exposure. I understand that argument. But the purpose of their inclusion was commercial. The children were used to sell something by the same two people who have made protecting children from exactly this kind of thing that one of their most public and important causes. The contradiction is not a small one. Child development psychologists are very clear that the damage from early commercialization comes not from fame itself, but from the removal of something every child needs, a private developmental stage where their identity forms without an audience. Harry knows this. He lived the consequences of not having it, which is what makes the candle so hard to explain away. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I know what I think. It's not just the candle, is it, Brittany? It's every product. And of course, but I mean, I find it quite interesting that he's only working out this huge hypocrisy and this massive problem with their business plan now.
I mean, Dan, it's so interesting to see. I think a lot of reporters and journalists are sort of turning on Harry and Meghan over this period of time. It's just kind of increased because Harry and Meghan don't live by what they preach. And anyone with half a brain, anyone with sort of general knowledge can see they're not living the standards that they want to force other people to live by. And I think commercializing the children is one of the most egregious. And there is a growing movement. Tennessee just passed a bill, or at least voted on a bill, that would basically force parents, they can't show their kids or commoditize them on social media until they're the age, I believe it is 13, and then they have to pay the kids and these sorts of things. So there's a growing backlash against influencers generally who leverage their children for fame, clicks, and attention, because children do drive audience. They 100% do. And so there's people who are just becoming aware that that's not really actually helpful to the children. It's not good for the families and these sorts of things, because it turns the children into a product, turns the children into something that can be leveraged for commercial gain. And Harry and Meghan could lead completely private lives if they want to. Meghan constantly seeks out, though, fame and attention at the expense of her family and her children. And they could live completely different lives. They don't have to do any of this, but she wants to. She needs the fame. She needs the attention. And unfortunately, Harry, if he truly wanted privacy, if he truly wanted the life he claims to, he picked the completely wrong spouse to make that happen.
Brittany, a couple of significant pieces of news today in regards to Prince William and Catherine, the Princess of Wales. The first, that she is tipped to join William at the Earthshot Prize on this landmark Indian visit later this year. You say this is big because it will be Catherine's first Earthshot trip since 2022 in Boston. Her absence in 2023 was said to be in regards to Prince George, but given her surgery 2 months later and cancer diagnosis, it's hard to ignore that her decision not to attend was, in hindsight, the first sign that she was dealing with health problems. And I mean, Italy, Brittany, I was away. I'm going to talk about that in a moment, but Italy was just such a big success. And of course, we want to see her in India.
We do, Dan. I'm like really hoping they go to Australia because I'd love to follow that trip. But this event and this trip was so well needed. It's so good to see Catherine out and about, because unfortunately as well, William and the children haven't really been able to do tours either. And I think for the future strength of the monarchy, it's would be great for them to be able to do some of these more long-term foreign royal trips type of thing. So I think this was definitely a very, very good stepping stone. Obviously, she got a wonderful and warm reception. Italy is very close to the UK, so it's not like she's too far away. I don't think we'd see a trip maybe to Canada or Australia, but maybe we'll see a longer trip somewhere else in Europe, because Catherine and William are fantastic ambassadors for the UK. They are well liked, and I think anytime the UK can use them abroad, it's a win. So hopefully we'll see them some more, but I think this is just a cautious stepping stone. We'll see Catherine, of course, reportedly in India as well, and I think we'll see continued growth. But I think a big tour is probably not going to come until 2027 is going to be my guess, and maybe, hopefully, it's to Australia with all the kids. I think that would be amazing.
Oh my God, it really would be. It really would be.
Yeah.
A couple of examples of how William is modernizing as well. Firstly, revealing, and they did choose to reveal this, Brittany, the fact that actually he's paying £300,000 rent on the home. That's £100,000 more than what the previous tenants paid. So very different to, say, the peppercorn arrangement, where Prince Andrew was, or then Prince Andrew was effectively paying nothing for Royal Lodge. And also he has announced today, or his chief executive has announced today, that he's going to sell a fifth of the duchy to build homes and help nature, with the Times revealing the Prince of Wales will funnel profits made from selling part of the Duchy of Cornwall into projects that have biggest social and environmental impact. So this is Prince William's starting to make his moves clear. And if you're watching this video, haven't done that yet. And it is the best one. No big tech backing, no billionaires pulling the strings. And if you turn on the bell, you'll get alerted to all.
It is. And we can see as well, I think it's great that they were transparent on how much they're paying for rent, because even Sophie and Edward are getting some heat for their peppercorn rent situation. So I think it's completely and utterly appropriate for Catherine and William to be transparent there. I think selling off the Duchy of Cornwall, obviously William is able to do that. He has to go through some hoops that is different than a normal landowner selling land because of the connections to the crown and everything. So there's a part of me that's like, it's will the duchy be able to raise as much money if the land is sold? But I don't know how much that is worth. But William definitely is not doing this for personal profit. And I think that's a huge deal. Instead, he's doing it to go, well, we're going to build more housing. We're going to develop the land. And hopefully what we have remaining can help really augment and protect nature and these sorts of things. And I think that's something people will definitely gravitate towards. And it's a reaction to the criticism he's received that he was sort of a slumlord. The Times article came out, I believe it was in late 2024. In regard to that, I think most of the criticism was rather unfair. But William is taking that to heart, and he's making changes that he hopes has positive impact and shows how controlling these duchies, so the Duchy of Cornwall, which he does, and his father controls Lancaster, how they are able to use those positions to help others rather than just helping themselves. And I think that's a fantastic thing to see.
Yes, it is, Brittany, it is. And look, I'm so happy to be back, by the way, because I was off last week. A couple of things I've just got to quickly say, Brittany. Firstly, I'm sitting here. I promise you, this is feeling so weird. I have the most crazy motion sickness at the moment because literally I woke up this morning on a boat in Germany. And I'd done this cruise. It was my mum's 70th birthday. And so her and my dad flew over from New Zealand. And it was really their dream to do one of these river cruises down the Danube. And we did just have the most incredible week, Brittany. We started in Hungary, and we went to Slovakia and Austria. And then we finished up in Germany. And I came back this morning. It was absolutely incredible. And while I was there, Brittany, we had a big achievement here on Outspoken as well, crossing the 700,000 subscriber mark. And I know people, thank you. People will also be so happy.
Congratulations.
Thank
That's
you
awesome.
so much. And people will also be very happy that they never have to hear me say again that we're on a mission for 700,000 subscribers. So I promise I will never say that again. But I just want to thank everyone from the bottom of my heart. It's always hard, isn't it, Brittany, when you're away and you know, we try and produce content that remains evergreen and that people can enjoy, that maybe do some more deep dives. Like we had Hugo Vickers on and I did a Q&A. You were away, so we missed you, unfortunately, over the last couple of weeks. But thank you for sticking with me when I had my little break. But it's so good to be back live and covering the news because I miss it. And
we missed you, Dan.
Thank you. And I miss doing, you know, celebrating Catherine in Italy. But we'll cover that as the week goes on. But anyway, I just wanted to say that, Brittany, so good to have you back. And make sure as well that you subscribe to the Royal News Network, which is the place to go for news, not just of the British royal family, though Brittany does cover a lot of that, but also monarchies all across the globe. Thank you, Brittany. We love having you here, and we'll speak next week. And thank you again for subscribing. And that is completely for free. But if you do want to